Hey, what's going on, everybody? Drama 22, showing some game film to start it off as we usually do. Gonna take a look at some concepts here from the 49ers. It's one concept in particular that I'm trying to wrap my head around, but it's kind of like two in one. So what we're looking at here is some game footage of the Niners, and you see a lot of times wherever there are two receivers to one side, is usually where the read seems to start. And then there's a sort of backside concept that's kind of working off of what I think could be the cousin, the distant relative of the Puma concept, which we're taking a look at here in a playbook that I found from the Dolphins. But we're going to kind of break this down. I'm going to go back and watch these clips again. Just kind of running through it quickly here. The good thing is when you look at this, you shouldn't be able to pick up on it right away. But when I break it down for you, it'll be a lot more clear. Let's go back on this example here. So we get a 1-by-3 formation or a 3-by-1 nub type of look, okay? And I've coached against Shanahan, and this is something that Swartz used to talk about. Some coaches, Shanahan, Sean Payton, some of these guys love to do this. And what we called it was Stockton and Malone basketball. Okay, they wanted to get 2-on-2 pick and roll and kind of like tear up your defense based off of your backside rules, and trying to make sure that they can kind of guarantee wins by really getting in 3-by-1 sets, but having this type of nub look on the backside. And what you see here is you see Kittle lined up kind of in that Y flex. And of course, you got C-Mac over here. So these guys are work some sort of combination. A lot of times, if we have it in our game, we have the option route combination, right? And that's something that you're going to see a lot of. We're going to try to work that in our game as much as possible as well, right? And you can get anything you want from Kittle, right? He can even do the good old swirl route. So that's pretty much where you notice a lot of the concepts start. We even can get our concept where we can have our arches type play, right? We can do all types of stuff there. We can go as CO, right? Choice outs. Guys always going to go outside. And we're also get, sometimes C-Mac has the ability just to go right by a guy, right? If the guy's flat footed and he's trying to play him on some sort of horizontal break. So that's the first part. We won't spend too much time on that because that's pretty much self explanatory. But the main thing that I think is really kind of interesting is I've seen it pop up more and more. And I started using it in some of my games earlier this year and just kind of like having to hot route to it. But I'll show you some plays that have been added to the game since the last playbook patch that actually gives you the concept and you don't have to do a whole lot of work for it. But if you ever watched the first video I did where I talked about the first 15, kind of talked about almost like a good old indie concept that I saw on the backside a lot, where that's pretty much where these players were getting to, right? You're getting somebody over the middle, you're getting somebody by the hashes, and you're getting somebody pretty much in between the numbers and the hash as kind of like a backside read. And it's interesting because a lot of people that run this concept don't really use that as the backside read. They would start there, right? They would use the two receiver side as the backside read, but I've noticed that Shanahan's system seems to be going opposite, where everything is to the two-man side for the most part, and then coming back to the three-man side as kind of like the check down, which gives you that nice little 3 to 4 to 5 guaranteed that somebody's going to be open. But are they really running it like that? No. I've noticed this combination the most from early in the season and starting to change up a little bit more. We're getting that inside drag where he kind of gets to that spot where this guy used to be, right? So he's running right now like an inside get under drag, which gets open pretty quickly. And then you're getting like a return route out here by number 2. And then you're getting this guy working a concept where he's working a vertical concept. And sometimes he just goes straight down the field. Sometimes he cuts in. Sometimes he goes out. I almost believe it could be based off of like leverage. And it's almost an alert to what's going on. So as we go through it, I feel like this backside concept, and if you look, I'll show you the playbook at the end of this video. There was a concept called Puma, where I'm pretty sure it was kind of like an old school high low here, right? And I do believe this guy might have just set here. I'm not exactly sure what he did, but this kind of Puma concept, people do run this on third down. This is also like a high-low grab concept that you could turn that into. But I've seen them run this. And then the final part is, as we go through the video here, I'll stop talking, is that sometimes they just switch up and just like have, you know, this guy would be the guy in and this guy would be the guy, whatever. They're just switch it up so it won't always be the same person doing the same job, but we're kind of getting some of the same side back reads. So let's just look at it some more now that you have some context on it. Okay. So right off the bat, this is actually a little bit later in the season. Here goes an example where 3 runs the return. He runs the return, and 2 goes kind of to where number 3 would have been. He runs a dig there. All right. So you can kind of work that out, right? But you're kind of getting these guys in the same spot here, here, here. So coming from a defensive coaching background too, I would always be like, hey, they're really running to the same spots, just doing it at it from different people or different angles. Now we need to know. Now we know from a defense what the concept is, and we would give it a name. But the front side concept here, we get the option route concept wide open to C-Mac there, and he catches the ball with open space and runs. Look at the next one real quick. So they come out in a 2-by-2 look, but then they motion out to an empty. So this is the 3 receiver side up top. So at the end of this play, right, we're going to see right here that we're getting 44 kind of ran like a fake return. He kind of sits down, and in our game, we kind of have some stuff where he does sit down and then speeds up and goes. And then you got somebody running some sort of vertical concept. Now, down here to the 2-man side, we just had a bench concept, or I'm sorry, just a tree concept, either a branch or a tree. A branch, I think, is 5 yards, tree is 8 to 10. So he's just working that, and he's looking there. He's starting there with his progression, 1. And if that's not there, I'm pretty sure he's going to work back to his backside. So that's like this to me is kind of like the core of their drop back passing game that I've noticed that shows up in a lot of different games and just comes out of different formation tweaks. But I think this is something that we can start to kind of leverage and use for ourselves in the game of Madden a little bit. All right, let's look at another concept, another clip here. They start in trips, they motion out. Okay, so this one here is a third down play. And this is where I kind of call this like, hey, even though we only have one guy really going out down here, I don't think he looked this way. He might have alerted, but I do believe because of the situation is third down, and this is Kittle. Kittle ends up running the vertical, but he runs an out. But again, you're going to get some kind of like nondescript route here, nondescript route here. So maybe this isn't the exact same route concept. This could be a totally different one. But to me, it's kind of in that same family of, hey, it's the 3 receiver side. He usually doesn't start to the 3 receiver side, but I think he might have on this one because he's trying to rip the out ball versus man coverage. No, he actually did look kind of towards the bottom. He could be looking the safety off here. This is kind of a passive look. Yeah, he's pretty much throwing this out ball, I think, on this one. So that may not be part of that family. When I put this film together, they weren't in perfect order. Okay, here we get to an empty look. So the top of the screen, this kind of also does look like it could be our um, stick nod concept, which they call, I think they forgot what they call it, disco or something like that. So even if this could be that concept, but still, I like it as almost like I had told you. It's like they're trying to get this pick from number 1. He's going to work the return, and then we're going to get some type of vertical route that could be an alert. But you can see right now, Purdy's looking at the bottom of the screen, and I think they're working just some sort of wrap concept over here. So let's just see what happens over here in this play. He's looking to the 2-man side, and then he comes back to the 3-man side if needed. This could be more of a red zone deal here. So it looks like get the option route here. And we have some sort of alert kind of skinny bank post right here, kind of like a quick dig. But you can kind of see at the end of the day, kind of like where the players are going. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. We'll watch a few more. This is red zone, so things do kind of change on here. But the 3-man side's at the top. Okay, this is an example here of using another concept. Like I kind of put this in there. This is definitely another concept, which we're going to talk about. This is going to be our arches concept. But they kind of still, it's the 3-man side. They kind of still get to the similar spots, but this is absolutely 3-level arches. and then we get some sort of combination back here. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure this is one time that he will look at the three receiver side, but he actually does start at the bottom and then comes back to the arches. So interesting. I'm looking at it here again. He's looking bottom, right? It's like a stick combo with arches on the backside. So that could be a different family, but the fact that some of these families are similar, just with some different timing and some different little detail, is good to look at. All right, we got this against the Bears. I'll make this the last one. Okay. So they come out in 2x2 spread, they motion to empty. So right now we got the 3-man side down here. So I'm expecting some sort of route like that Puma-ish route. And then over here with this type of spacing, it's probably going to be outbreakers. Let's see how it goes. Okay, he just set down. So we did get like an option route here by this player. He set down the zone. So he's working the 2-man side. Easier to read that. Boom. He's got it. At the bottom, we get the beginning of, again, a return route by somebody, either number 3 or number 2. So this time the running back, he works the return route. He sits down and just hitches up, and then he worked the middle of the field. So I just want to kind of like bring this up because I feel like we can kind of use this concept and get to it in some different ways in Madden. And I think it might help us just give us a nice little consistent drop back passing game for the 49ers, which we see a little bit more and more. Let's get one more here. Let's see what happens on this play here. Okay. 3-man side is at the top. So this time we get number 3 working out, coming back in, right? 2's working that dig. So this could be, again, this could be that Puma concept because I think that's kind of what it's built off of. You do get a nice little high-low concept there, right? Now, what it works against, we could talk about it, but remember, these guys are pure progression, right? But in general, that beats a lot of any type of whoever's the hook defender in any defense. If it's a flat defender, if it's a quarter flat defender, it's just the same way. But right now, we're getting the option route by 23. He has open access to the inside, so he takes it. He throws it to him right there. So we don't even get to the backside of it. So I'll find some clips of them actually working the full progression, but just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea of something how you can kind of make this all look the same, but actually look different, but be the same for you when it comes to your reads. All right. All right. Let me show you the actual playbook of only thing I can find that might be what we're looking at on the backside of this concept, but it's what I think is like a Puma-like concept. All right, so this is the only play that I could find that could be potentially what we're looking at in the backside of the Puma concept. Now, this is part of this is part of the quick game from Miami's playbook that we have. So I'm not sure, but this seems like the only thing that seems the closest. Now they do in the system, they have a bunch of things. They have shade, they have other types of plays where you get kind of like a vertical and then you're getting a quick under. Buffalo does that. So they kind of do believe in this 3-man concept for other reasons, but this is the only one that I can find. So you can see here, we're working the other one side here with the stick, right? And then we have our inside vertical route. Looks like he's doing that right there. We have an underneath kind of like on the move slant route. And then we have this route here that kind of works out. So I don't know if this is the timing of it, but that's all I have to go off of right now. If you guys know anything more, let me know. But let's just jump on to the field, the Madden field, and let's try to put it all together for us to use it as a concept that'll be good for us. Okay, so I'm in the Niners book right here, and this is a new play that showed up in the last patch in the middle. Gun trips X nasty, switch halfback wheel. So that route on the backside is pretty much what I was creating in some of my own games before that patch dropped to get that kind of look. So we're going to end up still creating this route concept from some other plays, but this is an example of one that you can use. Now, the 2-man side is not necessarily a route concept that I would love. Maybe you guys can scheme it up, maybe versus man coverage. Maybe that's a good answer for you, right? It might be good versus cover 2 match or something. I can take a look at that. But however you want to work the 3-man side, of this, like however you want to work this late, the timing of it should be pretty much here, right? And I'm not in love with how quickly he's getting across the field right now in this play. But that's going to be your option if you don't like that front side, and then you're going to have the zig or the return for your last option. Okay. Now I do believe this alert vertical route is pretty cool. I do believe that's not bad, but also like I was talking about, I don't think you have to leave him on a vertical. You could put him maybe not a post here because we have a post coming from somewhere else. You could put him on a corner. You could put him on some sort of route where you feel versus the coverage that you're playing against, it can help you. So let's just kind of go through a couple examples of some other plays that I have that I know that I like. Let's just take a look. Okay, here's an example. I have an option route concept, my Stockton Malone type of pick and roll on the right hand side with SC corner. And I already have two ends coming over here with the corner out as my vertical. So this is a traditional play that a lot of people would leave stock and just run it and just go with it. But if you want to make it a little bit more unique to what we'd see in the Shanahan system, and also McVay runs it a little bit as well, we can make that happen. How do we do it? All we do is take our outside guy, put him on a drag, take our inside guy, and put him on a return. So this concept will give you what you want. If you don't like the front side, then you can go obviously right here to the back side. And I will say this, the option route there with McCaffrey takes a little bit of time to get going. So you may kind of come off of that read pretty quickly. And it maybe just be like, hey, if you see this guy wide open, he's there. Now, if there's a user in the middle of the field, you might want to say, hey, well, I'm not going to throw that right away. I do know that I have my second option. So I think the return route aspect of this offense is pretty big. You have a lot of plays that already have return routes in them. We're going to use them in some of our stream, water concepts, things like that we use in the red zone. But I just want to let you know that you can also use it in some of your spread formations. I've used it here with level switch. Okay. So what I would do is try to find a concept that you like that you can work the 2-man part, and don't make this 3-man part your main thing, but let yourself be able to set it up so you can work the 3-man part. Okay, here goes another one, the motion double under. So this one kind of gives it to you. I think this is a newer play too. This one kind of gives it to you automatically. So we kind of have it already set up. We don't have to do much. If you see this look here, you're like, hey, this looks like it could be a real big shot look here. Make sure that my vertical is going to go vertical here. I'm going to look for that right away, right? And I could just end up going with what I want there. I threw it to the wrong guy. I was going to throw it to the back guy. But again, we're working that backside concept. As the front side, we don't like it. And then we're coming back across. So it very much so looks like indie, but our eyes are not working the indie first. Our eyes are actually working the backside, which I feel like that's where more big gains happen. And as long as you have the right players back here, your two best players back on the backside, you should be working with. You should be doing pretty well. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of show you this concept. I think it's something that you can look in your books. It's also in the Rams books. There's some new plays that are in there that kind of have it automatically in there for you. But it's one of those cool things. I love when we can also create a play, not making too many audibles and keeping it sim. I think that's a really positive thing. So, all right, here's one last one here. We're kind of work with this one here, this motion slot hitch. All right, we're keeping it to the boundary. So there is a little bit of, we don't really have a great 2-man route or backside concept. So you might want to take him and put him on a flat route. That's something that a lot of people like. We do have the vertical going really deep. So maybe you want that vertical to go like straight down the field instead. I'll say this, I'm not in love when the inside route is coming from number 3 because it gets over so quickly. It kind of feels like a different concept. I kind of wish the vertical, the inside route was a little bit further out. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe I'll take Pearsall and put him down, and take 84 here and put him on something like this. That just feels like it could be timed up a little bit better. So it gives me time to actually read the left side instead of me saying, "Oh, I got to just throw it quickly to the circle," because it's not a drive concept. We're not trying to get a middle triangle here. We're trying to give us time to read left to right. So, you guys have any more opinion on this and kind of like want to keep playing with this? Really, just this kind of gives you a thought process that when I go drop back, you kind of see how the progression of my mind is going. If I have an option route, I want to give it time to work. but then I want to also be able to have something nice in the backside that I can get to late. You know what I mean? So, want to kind of give you that stuff. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Talk to you later.